Hey guys, I'm Alex with Guardian Heating and Air Conditioning. Today we've simulated a clogged drain line, so we're going to start inside and head that way now. Now that we're inside the house, typically you're going to get home, we've got a clogged drain line. Usually you're going to find a blank thermostat just like this one. There's no power to it, panic sets in, not really sure what to do. So let me go out into the garage where this AC unit's located and we'll show you how to take care of that. And as you can see, this thing's kind of dripping. This is pretty typical what you'll see in a garage application where water's kind of streaming out here. What's happened is the drain line's actually clogged up and it's typically going to trip that float switch. The first thing you should do is identify where your float switch is. All float switches are a little different, but you'll pop this top off. You'll see that there's kind of water inside there. This float you can see is wet, and that float went up and it's disconnected the power. So that's your clear indication that you've got a drain line issue. Another important thing to take a look at is you should have a clean out T. In this case, this is a different type of device, but now we can open that up and you can see there's standing water inside that drain. It's kind of gross in there, so I won't stick my finger in there. So now we're gonna proceed to the outdoor unit where you're gonna need a shop vac, an extension cord. You're also gonna need some duct tape and a towel. All right guys, we're outside. It is hot. We're in the middle of July and we got a clogged drain line. So I'm gonna get right into it, show you guys exactly what to do. You're gonna need a shop vac, you're gonna need an extension cord, and you're gonna need some duct tape. So let's get into it. So what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna take the shop vac, we're gonna hook it up to your drain line, to your equipment. You'll notice it doesn't make a good seal. They do make a connection for this, but most people don't have those connections. That's why we're gonna use some duct tape here. So what we're gonna do is just kind of make a good solid seal around the pipe. Doesn't have to be pretty. We just wanna make sure that we're not getting any air coming through. Now we've got a solid connection to our drain line that goes back into the wet shop vac, and that's it. This is gonna be kind of loud, so we're gonna go ahead and turn this on. You're gonna hear the audible RPM rise until the drain line's clear, then it's gonna calm down a little bit. The next step is we're gonna fill some water back into this drain line while the shop vac is still running. The purpose behind that is we want that stuff to be turbulent inside the drain line to break any slime, sludge, calcium deposits that's built up in the drain line to kind of break loose. Sometimes you may have to do that 2, 3, 4 times just to make sure it's completely cleaned out. So let's get into it. Now that we're back inside, I wanted to kind of take a minute to explain what's happening. The shop vac is running outside, indoor. Once the drain line is clear, if you either go to your float switch or your clean out T, you can now hear that the drain line is clear because the shop vac is making the noise, pulling air through that. So we're gonna I used a recycled Dawn Snuggle bottle to fill up with some fresh water. What we're gonna do is just kind of pour that down the drain line, and we're gonna allow that to suck through with the shop vac. And as it makes its way through all the way to the outdoor, it's gonna be kind of spinning and becoming turbulent, kind of breaking loose any slime, sludge, any of that stuff that grows inside the drain line. All right guys, so we went ahead, we pulled the shop vac out. We've got all that slime and sludge broke through. We used some fresh water to help break any of that slime and sludge up. Again, sometimes you're gonna need to do this 3, 4, maybe 5 times. In this case, this is simulated, so I only did it once. Disconnect your hose here, and you're gonna wanna, take a look at what's going on inside here. You can see bacteria and slime and all kinds of other debris that was inside the drain line. So at this point, the next step is we have to prime the drain line with fresh water. If you don't prime the drain line, the blower will actually use the drain line as a flute and it'll pull the water away from the drain pan and it'll create another flood situation for you and you're gonna be back to square one. All right, well, we're just kind of removing our shop vac at this point. and kind of put our tools back away. The next step is going to be priming the drain line with fresh water so that we can ensure that we've got a clean drain line that's actually draining to the outdoor. So that's the next step. Now that we've got the drain line clear and we went ahead and flushed some water through it while the shop vac was running, now it's time to kind of clean up and prime the drain line. First thing I'm gonna do is get that water kind of cleaned up. If this is inside your house, obviously you're gonna want to take care of that right away. If it's in the attic space, you're gonna want to get whatever water, residual waters in your secondary drain pan out of there. In this case, it's in the garage, no big deal. Next step is we're gonna prime this drain line that you can now see that has no water in it. We're gonna prime with fresh, clean water. I would like to mention that you wanna make sure that you get enough water in there so that you're dripping water outside. Everybody's drain line length is different. So for today's video, this small bottle of water is not going to technically be enough to prime the drain line. This is for video use only. You may need to fill up the drain line with 2, 3, maybe even 4 gallons of water. Not really sure how long your drain line is, but in this case, we're gonna prime it just to fill the trap with water so that the blower doesn't pull the water away from the drain pan and create another drain line issue or a water leak. Now that we got the drain line primed, it is important that we turn our attention back to the float switch. If you'll notice, there's still water inside here, even though I did shop vac the entire drain line all the way out. This reservoir has a dip in the bottom of the reservoir and it'll hold water. So you need to make sure that we get all the water out of the float switch before you restore the float switch back to its resting place. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. I use a towel. Some people you could use a paper towel. You could use your shop vac, whatever you want to use to kind of get that existing standing water out of that float switch, so that when you put the float switch back in, it doesn't trip the thermostat back in the off position. So now we've got no more water, nice and clean. We'll put that float switch back in the downward position. And in this case, I'm going to lock mine, but most float switches just kind of rest in there. So that's it for right now. We've cleaned the drain line, we've primed the drain line, we've got the water out of the float switch, and we've cleaned up the mess. Our next step is we're gonna head outside and we're gonna make sure that this drain line's actually draining. All right, now that we're in the final step, we're outside back to the drain line, and the outdoor unit's back to operating, indoor unit's back to operating. And what we're waiting for, in about 15, 20 minutes after we primed enough water in here, we should start watching this drain line slowly kind of just drip out like that, so that you get a consistent drip or a stream of water pouring out. Now we just cleaned this, so you can see all the water kind of pooling up inside this area. So all that water's flushed out. So in about 15, maybe 20 minutes, we're gonna see all that condensate coming from the indoor coil is now gonna start dripping out of this pipe. And that's gonna be our sign that we've done a good job.